Oh, they ain't tell y'all? You tuning into the best morning show on the globe. It's Bradham and Emery in the morning, y'all. LeBron or Jordan, either one when I'm performing. Crossover, buzzer beater and I'm scoring. Bradham and Emery in the morning. Every play they on it. Every day I'm balling. Who's the coach? Who's the GOAT? Like Brady and Belichick, best show on the globe. And they embellish it. Y'all pin Ziffy, I'm Ken Griffey or maybe Mahomes. I stay in the zone, whether man to man or play in the zone. They can't stop me. Mayweather boxing, Curry with the shot, man. We just the best to be. Can we have our SB, please? This was meant to be. Every morning with Bradham and Emery.
Yes, sir. You know the vibes. It's the worst day of the week. It is Tuesday. Bradham and Emery in the morning. Marques Bradham, Justin Emery.
Yo, yo.
Man, it's interesting. Yesterday, we spent a lot of time on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Got a bomb dropped on us after the show ended.
A lot of time on the Eagles, and it was almost like, you know, it was we gave ourselves an Eagles enema. You know, we let it all go, and I figured we were gonna move on to other things, but then.
Well, did you ever notice how whenever you and I do a show, it always seems that as soon as the show ends, whatever we were talking about, breaking news drops after the show ends.
Right.
This is not the first time that this happened. The very first time. We remember the very first time.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, here's the cool thing now about the platform we're on now, what we're doing now is there's going to be a time where news is going to break during the show.
Yes.
And that's going to be an exciting moment.
Yes.
But also the cool thing is, on the flip side of that coin, is that
we got to make sure we have our breaking news sounder ready.
Right. Also, the cool thing is, too, now with us is now we're 5 days a week. So we don't have to wait to Saturday and Sunday to talk about this. We're right here in the mix of it, and we can give you our opinions right on site. And you guys know, if you don't know, you should know. But if you don't know, now you know. Doug Peterson, his 10 years as Philadelphia Eagles head coach, came to an end around 2:15 yesterday afternoon. Mm-hmm. He has been let go.
No, it broke just a hair before 2 o'clock.
Okay, so 1:59.
1:59. Just
PM.
a hair before 2 o'clock it broke.
Yeah, so, man, here we are again. Here we are again in the soap opera known as the Eagles turn.
I mean, it's really
wide, round around they go.
I mean,
here we are.
We're back.
As the Eagles turn. Last time on As the Eagles turn, draft picks, are they a problem? Carson Wentz, is he the problem? Jalen Hurts, is he the problem? Offensive line, aren't they the problem? Who is the problem? Well, now one shoe has dropped, and his name is Dougie P. And he is now currently on the unemployment line.
I wonder if he gets the extra extended benefits when he applies for unemployment.
Doug deserves a STEMI. Give Doug a STEMI.
He deserves a STEMI.
Give Doug a STEMI. He needs a STEMI.
Now, I have a interesting question to pose to you.
Okay.
It's a two-part question. How long do you think Doug stays unemployed?
If he's going for a head coaching job, I don't think this is the one. If he wants to be an assistant, I think it's hired right away. I think he, and you know, we're gonna get into the tenure of Doug Peterson a little bit later down the line.
Well, my other the second part of that question is whatever the timeline that he gets hired is. You know, I don't know what it's going to be, but whatever the timeline is, will be a direct indication of what the other people around the league view as who should be blamed for this Eagles situation.
That's a good point.
If Doug Peterson gets hired relatively quickly, the league circles will be saying, we blame Howie Roseman for the Eagles' issues.
Yeah.
If Doug Peterson stays unemployed for a while, he will get another coaching job. He was a Super Bowl winning coach. He will get another coaching job.
Yes.
But if he waits a while or doesn't get hired right away,
right,
it is an indication that they blame the coach. However, we all believe that Doug Peterson will get another job with another team at some point in time.
Of course.
If Howie Roseman was relieved of his duties, do you see another team picking him up?
Absolutely not. No. And
as the Eagles turn. Also, I'm putting it out there formally with the dramatic music as the backdrop.
I like it.
Until a certain person, I was about to get really mean to him right there, but I decided against it.
Okay.
Until a certain person is no longer with this organization, they will be referred to as the Philadelphia football team.
Wow. That's aggressive.
Sharing the moniker with Pro Football Talk.
Oh, no.
All they are a PFT.
Oh, boy. So this, for me, I don't care what anyone says, this confirms my theory. And we're going to get into Jeffrey Lillard's press conference also and talk about that. I don't care what he says. I don't care what anyone says. This was about Carson.
Absolutely.
This confirms my theory that this was all about Carson. And it was a lot of tap dancing yesterday. This person, that person saying this and that and the third. I don't believe you. This was directly to me about Carson. And yeah, there were other factors involved, I'm sure. But primarily, this was the betrayal of your quarterback. And again, what he did was he took a gamble because he panicked about his job. They weren't playing well. Carson wasn't playing well. And the quarterback, as we always say, what happens to the quarterback? He gets too much praise. He gets too much blame. So Doug jumped on that bandwagon. And everything was working out. Jalen Hurts came in the first couple weeks. It looked like it was going to work for you. You're going to get in the playoffs. And then, hey, it's his fault. It's not my fault. It's his fault. But then what happened? You play the Cowboys. And it goes so well. So after you play the Cowboys and, that happens, now you're out of the playoffs. Now what do? You got to go groveling and crawling back to your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Carson, I'm sorry. Carson, please. Carson.
And Carson said, I'm not saving you.
Yeah. Carson said, who will save your soul? Not me. Maybe Jesus, but not me.
I said this before. There's a reason that no other team hired Doug Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason no other team interviewed Doug Peterson. Jason Kelce slandered this guy, rightfully so, at the parade.
Yes.
But 36 months later, I asked you this question. Was Mike Lombardi wrong?
Ooh. Well, I mean, I was going to save this part till we look back at Doug, but I'm just going to say it now. I have never been a Doug Peterson guy. Never. And I could not, after 2016.
Nor have I.
After 2016, I wanted him gone right then. And after you win a Super Bowl, what am I supposed to say? Even though I disagreed still with things he did in 2017, what am I supposed to say? I can't say anything. You won a Super Bowl. I got to be quiet now. I got to be quiet. But I never, ever have been a Doug Peterson man at all. Ever.
I agree.
Ever. He did things that were head scratchers repeatedly throughout his tenure.
Yeah.
And, everything I feel caught up this year. Look, what did you say earlier? You said there's a reason why no one's hired him.
No one's hired him. No one's interviewed him.
And think about this. So what is the only coach that's been plucked and is a head coach from his tree after the Super Bowl is Frank Reich?
Yes.
And all of a sudden, what did happen to the Eagles? Where'd they go?
They have gone
to the
down
wayside.
To the wayside.
To the wayside.
And they
have become a rolling dumpster fire. They are that GIF of the river.
You're putting it so nicely.
Yeah,
you're putting it so nicely.
I'm being eloquent. They are a rolling dumpster fire, rolling down through history. That's what this is now, and it's after Doug was immediately fired, and after they fired him, I felt a sigh of relief. Like, okay, I feel like they get it. I feel like,
but do they? But do they?
Let me get to that. I feel like they understand. I feel like they get it. And then the owner comes into a weird Zoom call. By the way, why was he so close to the camera? That was a very aggressive angle.
Now I caught it on the radio, so I didn't see it.
I was watching it, and he was way too close to the camera for my comfort. It was aggressive. Like it was. I mean, I don't know if he was like he didn't do a lot of press conferences. I don't know if he was like nervous, something like that. But he had this angle. It looked like he was being held hostage in a foreign country. Like it was the angle was bad.
How old is Jeff? Late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. So
I can't imagine. I can't imagine his Zoom game.
But don't you have like a young intern or a young person to be like, hey Jeff, let's fix it. Hey Mr. Laurie, you're way too close to the camera. We're gonna move this back for you a little bit.
Yo, don't talk about his new wife like that.
No, I felt good until he started speaking, and
why is it always the owners in this town that when the only thing that's worse than when they don't talk is when they talk?
Yeah.
Like, I am okay if I never hear Josh Harris ever again.
Right.
Like, how are you worth that much money?
Right.
And you can't string together, 3 sentences in a press conference.
Well, a lot of these guys, the problem is with these owners is that they want to be a part of the club. They're not like a lot of them aren't comfortable enough just sitting back, collecting their money.
Well, there's what? There's I believe there's only ever been 2 owners of a pro sports team. I'm sorry, 3 owners of a pro sports team that were players.
Yeah.
That I can recall off the top of my head.
So you got Jordan.
You have Lemieux with the Penguins.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who was just forced to sell the Carolina Panthers.
You got me there.
Richardson, I believe his last name was. He just sold the Panthers. I'll look it up. He just sold the Panthers within the last year or two. He was a former player. He was the only player. He was the only NFL player to own a team.
Well, like you said yesterday, it's Billionaires Boys Club.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate billionaires playground. It's a very hard thing to get involved in. But circling back to Doug, man, I like it. There's so many reasons out there about why this happened. I've already said my theory. There were theories that Doug didn't want to rebuild while Howie did, and Jeff agreed to rebuild. There was theories that you got the answer.
Yeah, it's Jerry Richardson.
Okay.
He
no idea who that is.
He was he's like I said, he was the Panthers owner literally up until a year or two ago. But he was on the he played with Johnny Unitas.
Oh, wow.
He was a Johnny Unitas teammate.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So
but is it like you had said, it's just not something that often occurs where you have a player that owns the team. So more often than not, the vast majority more often than not, they're rich guys that want some toys to play with, and what better toy to have than a professional sports team?
Yeah.
Or they're just a fan.
Right.
How you got guys like Mark Cuban, who's a fan.
Right.
He's a good owner.
Right.
Steve Ballmer, fan, good owner.
Right.
And then you got
definitely exceptions to the rule, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you got the Dan Snyders.
Right.
Then you got the
Dirty Dan.
Tillman Fertitta.
Yeah.
You got the Jeffrey Lurie.
You're right. And I take back all the nice things I said about Jeffrey Lurie yesterday. By the way, at that press conference, every nice thing I said about him, I take it back. He made me so angry. But anyway, I want to read this to you.
Talk to me.
This comes from this is about Doug Peterson. Like I was saying, there's a lot of theories about why he got dismissed yesterday.
Is this a report or
this is from a source.
Okay.
This is from a CBS Sports reporter named Amanda. I'm gonna butcher her last name. I'm gonna say Guerra.
Okay.
And she said this yesterday. I thought this was interesting. I want you to react to this. Sources: Doug Peterson wanted out of Philly, saw it as a bad situation, and didn't feel like he could do what he wanted in regards to getting players he wanted. Felt couldn't work with Howie Roseman. Feels can get fresh start somewhere else. Keep in mind there are 2 sides to every story.
I mean, yes. I mean, you can say that about nearly every head coach that got fired. So, yeah, this is a bad situation. But it's also the only situation you've ever been given the chance to be in.
Right.
I mean, did you say where these reports came from?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I don't know. He's a pushover. He's a yes man. And
that's why this report to me doesn't make sense. Because do you see Doug saying going to Jeff Lure's office and being like, no, I putting his foot down? Like the whole idea of him groveling, the whole idea of him backtracking shows he's a pushover. He didn't, even when Jalen Hurts faltered at the Cowboys game, and that didn't go well, he didn't stand on the courage convictions. What you hear, all of a sudden you hear the leaks
Let's go back just 12 months ago. Press conference. Mike Groh did a great job for us.
Right.
Great job. He's great with the staff and everything, great with the team. We look forward to having him back here next year. Spin the calendar 24 hours after that, what happens?
Right.
Mike Groh's gone.
And that's embarrassing. And then, you go this year where as soon as the Hurts thing didn't work out, what do? You go groveling back to Carson. Oh, yeah, we're going to work it out. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be fine. And, that, like, instead of just saying, you know what, like, I felt Hurts gave us the best chance to win. Jalen's my guy right now. We'll deal with Carson and everything in the offseason. He didn't say that because he already knew that the writing was on the wall at that point.
I am very, very, very much fed up with this ownership group, with this front office. I said it yesterday, and there's a tweet that I'll pull up for the second part of the Doug segment, that and Howie and the Eagles' second part of that. That we are in it's like I said yesterday, it's hard to even put into words how bad this situation. Like it's comically dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Like you are an embarrassment right now. Like you guys look foolish to the other 31. And then he's up there, well, if any owner wants to talk about hiring Doug Peterson, I'm the top advocate.
He did the first 10 minutes was a job interview for Doug Peterson after you just fired him.
He did the same thing for Andy Reid.
That made more sense to me because Andy Reid's tenure was so long. Andy Reid was here 14 years, but that didn't bother me as much as this one, because this one, when Andy Reid went out, everyone agreed, including myself, it was time for a change.
Oh yeah,
but we were very thankful for what Andy Reid did for 14 years. With Doug, I'm not leaving with gratitude here because you've left this an absolute mess. This is a mess. Like, the house was when Andy Reid left, you look back when he left, the house was in good order. You had D-Jack, you had Macklin, you had McCoy, you had, you still had a strong defense. Everything was in order. It's just that his message had gotten old because he'd been here so long. They needed a fresh voice. That all was cleaned out by letting Chip Kelly make decisions about personnel. But the bones were good here. You had good bones when Andy Reid left. He left you in good standing. And Doug's not leaving this organization in good standing. This is a mess. He literally jumped out the third story of a burning building. Or maybe it was thrown out, whoever everyone asked. But either way, this isn't good. So I don't want to hear you come on air for 10 minutes telling me how great Doug is and how he basically said he didn't deserve to be fired. Yeah. What? What do you mean? What is that?
Yeah,
then why'd you do it?
No, he didn't basically. He did say.
Why'd you do it? Then why'd you do it?
He said anybody that wins a Super Bowl probably does not deserve to be fired. What?
Which is insane because at some point, here's the deal. Normally, coaching in any profession is generally, and this is generally, you do not get to walk away. You get fired. That's how it works. It doesn't matter what you've done. At some point, you're going to get fired. It's almost like to be analogy, like being a drug dealer. Like you're either going to die or you're going to jail. Like that's kind of what coaching is. You're probably going to get fired. That's it. You don't usually get to walk away on your own terms unless you're unbelievably legendary, iconic.
Well, did you ever remember a couple years ago? Maybe more than a couple years ago, the Kobe Bryant power commercials for his show, like the different,
sort of, yeah.
So there's one where they have Kanye West as a guest.
Yeah.
So
I remember that one. I love that commercial.
He looks at you and goes, "What the F are you talking about, Kobe Bryant?"
Right.
That's how I felt yesterday. Listen, like, what the F are you talking about,
yeah.
Jeffrey?
And he even said at some point during this press conference, like he was basically freestyling. Don't do that.
It didn't make any sense.
No, it was ramblings, and like he was unprepared for all the questions. He did it the right way, and but
shout out to the Eagles reporters that were on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
For not giving up.
They were handling it. Yeah, they were putting the fire.
They've had it. They're fed up with it too.
Right.
And they want to press them too.
Right.
A report came out late last night, from Philadelphia Inquirer.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff McLean put out that Howie Roseman basically for the last 2 drafts has ignored his scouts.
Yeah, I did see that.
Lurie was instrumental in wanting our Sega-Whiteside. Lurie did not want any potential issues with DK Metcalf and wanted our Sega-Whiteside. So the owner said, all those people that we pay to scout these players and all that,
I got this.
I got this.
Give me the binoculars. Move over, Hal. Hand me the binoculars.
Then this draft, the scouts.
Wait, hold on. Can you see this picture of Jeffrey Lurie out in like a polo in his khaki shorts with the binoculars in one hand, a stopwatch in the other, trying to time players.
Unfortunately,
writing down notes.
Unfortunately, I can.
Has really colorful sneakers. I bet that was in his notes.
Oh, I bet it was. His workout attire looks like Eagles gear.
Yeah.
Must sign him.
Must sign him immediately.
Oh.
He's seen 3 of my movies.
Yeah.
He's in.
3 more than I have.
Right.
Then the scouts this year basically begged Howie to take Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
And what did I say yesterday on the show with the Jalen Hurts pick? They should have drafted Jeremy Chin.
And what do we have here?
We have the report.
Yep.
Scouts wanted safety Jeremy Chin at 53, and Coach Peterson also did not necessarily want to go with a quarterback in the second round. However, owner Jeffrey Lurie backed Roseman's decision to take Hurts.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you're hearing basically as we, wrap up this, first segment for your break, what you're hearing is the dysfunction in its organization. And maybe it's, let me get a little philosophical here a little bit for me. Lay on my couch for a second.
Just before you get out about your dysfunctional comment, you've been to Jenkintown.
Yeah.
Okay. We used to have a joke when we were younger. If you were dysfunctional, that was code word that you were from Jenkintown. Jeffrey Lurie is from Jenkintown.
Enough said.
Let
me get a little philosophical for a second. Think about this for a second. Can you picture 2 more people that are more alike, probably personality-wise, than Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman? Like, they are definitely 2, spoiled rich kids.
Yes. Oh, I said that yesterday.
Who definitely probably didn't have a lot of friends. They were very sheltered in life. And kind of, listen, Jeffrey Lurie didn't have to work for anything. And I don't want to fault this for anyone that has a situation. Good for you. But when you don't have to actually work for anything and fight for anything, it makes you weak. You don't have anything there. You don't have any bones to go get something. If everything's just handed to you, what are you earning? So I think both of them are very similar in that aspect. And they probably were in school. They probably weren't very popular kids, and they probably tried to throw money at everything. And now I think that's why they identify so much, because they're basically the same person. And this is going to be an issue because what happens to the next head coach that comes in here now? If you've got the general manager and the owner colluding to kind of run the team, and you're just kind of like, you're not giving the coach proper input on who they should be drafting and what makes the coach feel comfortable, how could this possibly be successful? It can't. It can't be. You can't have this kind of collusion. Like, the two people who be working together are the general manager and the coach, not the general manager and the owner. The owner needs to stay out of things. And honestly, I think that, like, when Andy Reid was here, the one nice thing is Andy Reid basically did everything. So with Joe Banner, and like they were trusted. Where I don't know, I think the Chip Kelly thing freaked Jeffrey Lurie out because he gave him so much power.
Oh, he's still
he gave him so much power, and it just
affected by the Chip Kelly thing.
Yeah, it freaked him out. So now he went the other way, and now he wants to know everything. I gotta be involved in everything. I can't let that happen again.
And I was huge in the Chipadelphia movement too.
Me too. And we're gonna talk a little about him also in a couple breaks. When we come back, it's Tuesdays with Twitty.
Yes, sir.
Marcus Bradham, Justin Emery, Bradham in the morning. Right back. Hi, I'm Marcus Bradham. I want to talk to you right now about Mike's Homemade Ice Cream. USA Today selected Uncle Mike's Ice Cream as the best ice cream parlor in Pennsylvania based on Yelp ratings. Uncle Mike's is family-owned and dedicated to the production of premium quality gourmet ice cream and sorbet. Made fresh daily on the premises using the highest quality ingredients available. Uncle Mike's features over 30 unique, delicious flavors offered in scoops, sundaes, shakes, and special order ice cream cakes and pies. Uncle Mike's Homemade Ice Cream is located at 537 York Road, Warminster, and is open all year round. Visit Uncle Mike's and let our friendly staff serve you happiness one scoop at a time.
10:30. Branham and Emery in the morning. Justin Emery, Marcus Branham.
Yes, sir.
Back. We got a special segment lined up now. This is going to be happening every Tuesday. We got my guy Twitty from the Twitty and the Brand podcast on the line right now, and he's going to be joining us every Tuesday to do Tuesdays with Twitty. Twitty, my friend, how are you doing this morning?
What's up, boys? Just taking my first breaths in a post Dougie P world still.
So yeah, right out of the gate, let's get your initial thoughts about that. The weasel's not quite gone yet.
The Eagles turn.
Yeah, as the Eagles turn, the weasel is still in power. However, Dougie P is gone. What's your initial reaction to that?
I'll tell you right off the bat, I would have much rather seen another season with Dougie and without the weasel.
I agree.
I'll tell you that. As it stands, looking ahead at this coaching search, I'm like, what can you really do other than give Deuce a shot next year? Who's taking that job? Who's going to look at that cap figure and think, yeah, that sounds like something I want to sign up for and get fully involved with?
Oh, you mean there's people who don't want to throw $71 million down the drain just to break even?
Right, like you come into this job knowing full well that there is zero chance this time next year things will be looking in a more positive direction. You're
definitely looking at a hard L.
This definitely is a first coach job look right now, like my first job, and I'm just happy to be here. And yeah, Deuce deserves that look. I mean, he's suffered through all of these regimes post Andy Reid. Give the man something.
Like, he suffered during Andy Reid too.
Like he came upstairs with a binder of like 9,000 pages, like carrying up, like plopping on Lori's desk, like, hey, Mr. Lori, I've been thinking about some things. Would you mind just give me a shot? My papers.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna go in house, you got to go Deuce. If you're gonna go out of house, you're just picking who you're gonna fire in 2 years.
Pretty much. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. How sad is that is what the Philadelphia football team is doing these days?
It's sad enough that I might put Super Bowl 52 on tonight and just cry myself to sleep.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, I was glad to get your take on it because I was with you at the conclusion of Super Bowl 52.
Yes, that was a wild night.
So
for everybody.
Yes, a lot of us will say that was probably our greatest sports night of our lives.
Greatest sports night of my life, by far.
I don't think there's competition.
No.
Well, you got the baseball people who will say something about October 29th, 2008.
And this succeeded it.
This
I had a great time that day. But
second
it's not
for me is Game 1, Sixers-Lakers, 2001. That's second.
Sixers. I remember watching it. I was a kid though, so I couldn't partake in it as much as I wanted to.
10 at the time.
I believe I was like 12 or 13.
All right, whatever, guys.
I
was 21.
Well, hey, get it in. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But so we bring Twitty on from Twitty and the Brand podcast. We kind of got a couple different topics that we want to get around the horn with you. We'll save the big one for last. So
all right.
let's come out first. What do you got on the binge streaming front for us now? Could be potentially going into another quarantine, another lockdown. People are not going to have Tiger King to watch because they've already watched it the first time. Or if you're like me, you haven't seen it at all.
What are you doing?
Dude.
What?
Come on, bro. Bro, we got to stop it right here. No, this is not good. I'm going to have to give you a demerit.
Oh, hold on. Wait,
this is terrible.
We got to re-rack. Are we re-racking it now?
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. We're re-racking. Hold on.
Why are we playing our theme song?
I thought we were re-racking the show, so I didn't say it.
You got it. You got to get in there.
I'm okay with that.
No, you're not. You're just not.
Tiger King seems so long ago at this point.
It does. It seems like 3 years ago.
10 years have passed in that.
And the thing about Tiger King was a gift that kept on giving. Like it was, I remember I was sitting here with Amber on the couch, and it was very beginning of the quarantine, like really super early. I'm going through Netflix, looking on watch, and we watch a trailer. We're like, oh, we're in. I don't know what's about to happen in the next 2 hours, but I'm in. Conspiracy theory.
You can't
and Tigers?
watch the trailer and not put it on immediately.
Right. So yeah, you need to watch that. That needs to happen.
Just the great thing about watching Tiger King is us watching that, you get a nice little view at what it's like to be someone in another country just watching American news in the back half of 2020.
Wait, we got to stick here for a second. I got to ask you a question. Are you Team Joe or are you Team Carol?
As much as I don't want to be associated with either of them, I think I'm Team Joe.
Okay. I'm Team Carol.
Ooh.
I'm a Team Carol man.
I'll
Joe Exotic to
if
me.
I'm around you in a cage and everything.
Joe Exotic to me was a far superior, awful human being. On so many levels.
I think that
and
might
I'm gonna
be
start,
why I'm on Team Joe, though.
I'm going to start with the fact
up in garbage person stuff. He's just more honest about it.
I guess you're right, but I'm going to start with him feeding his staff 3-year-old Walmart meats. That right there was egregious enough.
I'm not sure Carol's not also doing that.
Yeah, I can either confirm or deny, but I was Team Carol on that. But anyway, go ahead, Justin.
No, we just want to see what's on Twitty's streaming library right now.
All right, well, I got 2 picks for you today.
Don't need to know any of the X-rated stuff, though. Keep that off.
Gotcha. I got something that I found recently and something that I rewatched recently that I think people could benefit from a viewing of.
Okay, talk to me.
First up is a little movie called The Wave, starring Justin Long.
I like Justin Long.
I love everything he's in, especially when it's some of the weirder stuff.
Right, yeah.
Justin and others will know I'm a big fan of the movie Tusk for all its ridiculousness.
Yes.
And he is co-starred in this one by Donald Faison of Scrubs fame.
Really? Oh, yeah, I love Scrubs.
Also a big fan of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, Long plays a corporate lawyer who's kind of just a giant douchebag.
Okay.
And he gets dosed with what he thinks is LSD at a party, but he comes to find out it's some wild drug that he's never heard of. And it kind of cuts forward to the next morning, and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be like a Hangover style movie.
Yeah.
And then it starts kind of cutting back, and like you think you know what's happening.
Right.
And then it just keeps taking hard left turns until by the time you're at the end of the movie, you're watching a completely different movie than you were at the start.
All right, I think I'm in.
I highly recommend it. It'll definitely mess with your head quite a bit. And there, for people who know me and my love of sci-fi, there may be a small time travel component.
I'm out. No,
I won't say more.
You lost,
not
you lost
actual
me.
time travel.
No, you lost me.
You don't
you
know
lost
me.
I can't do the sci-fi. I'm out.
Well, we'll see how you feel about my second pick.
Okay,
and that's something I revisited. This is something that when the second season came out the first time, it was actually a little depressing for me because I was going through something similar to the main character at the time.
Okay.
But that is the brainchild of Aziz Ansari on Netflix, Master of None. And I got to say, I'm a huge fan of this show because it combines being nonstop hilarious with a lot of really heartfelt stories about like dating in the modern age, trying to have a relationship with your family when you're just very different people. There are some really great immigrant tales in it. And just top to bottom, it's offering a wider range of content than most shows on their own that you could watch, I would say.
Aziz Ansari is one of my favorite stand-ups.
I'm a huge fan.
I love Aziz Ansari. He's
and I think
he's
he
was awesome at Parks and Rec. Yeah, I like him a lot.
I'm a huge Parks guy.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, like I just finished yesterday season 3 of Cobra Kai, so I'm a little sad.
Oh, I watched that in one sitting. I
have no more episodes. I have no more episodes, so I'm sad. So I'm definitely looking for something new. So
although it's like as good as that show stays, it's starting to get like real far-fetched.
Bro, yeah, I was a little like I was okay until the last fight scene in Daniel LaRusso's house.
That was
that
absurd.
got a little crazy,
like,
and then
all of these kids are going to prison for 15 years,
right? And then you had Daniel and now I can't think of his name. Why can't
Johnny?
It was blank. Yeah, Johnny. I don't know why I blanked on that. Daniel and Johnny getting ready to murder John Kreese. Straight up murder in the middle of a strip mall. Like that was a lot. But
it was a great fight, though, as far-fetched as it was.
Right. So I know you're a little younger than me. So did you watch Saved by the Bell at all, the original series at all?
Way back, yeah.
Okay. So have you seen the reboot?
No. So we talked about this on Twitty and the Brand a couple weeks ago, actually. I refuse to watch it purely on the basis that they named it the Saved by the Bell reboot. If they're not going to take this seriously, I'm not.
No, but here's what I'm gonna say to you. I definitely advise you giving it a shot because I feel like watching the season of Cobra Kai was after I watched the reboot. So what I loved about the Saved by the Bell reboot is that they what they did was they took the stuff that made people comfortable in the old episodes, but they updated it and embraced the cheesiness and realized, okay, some of this stuff is a little cheesy and weird, but we're going to give you an updated version of it. Also, we're going to evolve the characters, evolve the show to today's standard, like Cobra Kai did. Like Cobra Kai is, obviously people watch this based on the Karate Kid, but we all know how cheesy the Karate Kid was. Well, Cobra Kai, what the best moments of Cobra Kai was playing off that cheesiness of the characters and kind of updating them and giving you more perspective of the characters. Like now, for instance, like Jesse Spano 25 years ago was a huge activist. Well, it wasn't cool to be an activist back in 1990. But now, her character now as an activist makes a lot of sense. And they played on that. Stuff like that, which I think Cobra Kai also did similar things with explaining Johnny Lawrence and his background, which we didn't know, 35 years ago. We just looked at him as an a-hole. But now
that's what I love about Cobra Kai is like people have made that joke for years that you could argue that he's the hero of it, and now it's like after watching it, you're like, all right, he can buy in a little bit now. Like I don't think he's ever going to be considered the hero, but it's definitely more complicated than the movie portrayed it as originally.
Right, and so that's why I advise you definitely check out Saved by the Bell because it has those same characteristics, and it takes a closer look at the Zach Morris character, and he's definitely much more of an anti-hero than he was portrayed back in the original run.
It's going to be tough watching him after getting really into that one web series, Zach Morris is Trash.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's why they went this direction with him because of that series. Because that highlighted a lot of things where it was like, oh, he actually was kind of a jerk. So, but anyway.
Yeah. Saved by the
Bell.
On
Peacock, by the way?
Saved by the Bell? Yeah. It's on Peacock. Yep. It's
right.
Peacock.
I get that for free, but I have yet to see it.
I'm telling you right now, get in there. I think you're really gonna enjoy it.
Right. All right. I'll have to give it a shot. I'm overdue to set up the Peacock now that The Office is off Netflix anyway. So
there you go.
So just give a quick wrap up of your two streaming selections before we get to the good part.
So The Wave, Justin Long and Donald Faison, wacky drug-fueled antics with a pretty crazy ending that you will never see coming.
I think it has something to do with sci-fi.
Not so much. There's just an element of it that really changes the whole movie. And second, Master of None, brainchild of Aziz Ansari. Hilarious, heartfelt, on my watch list perennially. And I got really upset watching it, like, oh man, this is never going to get a third season. And then Justin, our good friend Bobby Bonds, informed me yesterday that it has been greenlit after a 3-year hiatus.
Nice.
Very nice. Nothing.
And what service is Aziz on?
That's Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Netflix made a huge investment in him. Like he did like
as
5
specials
on that show in like a 3-year span.
Yeah.
There's very few things that are as pleasantly surprising as a show that you like getting greenlit for another season.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you had already written it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I felt with Designated Survivor. However, then Netflix.
Are we getting that? Is that canceled?
That's canceled.
That's upsetting to me.
There will not be a 4th season.
That was such a great concept.
Yeah, I agree.
And I love Kiefer Sutherland. So
I agree.
Yeah,
it was. But now it's time to get to the big segment with Twitty. We got Twitty's conspiracy theories.
Oh.
And
Will you put on my full hat?
Yes, he has a good one lined up for us today.
Make sure they're tight. You want it under the ears.
Yep.
Make sure
it's tucked in. It's tucked in. I got the antennas up. I'm ready.
Yes. He and he was telling me before the show, the general. He didn't give me the story, but he gave me the general topic.
Wait, I'm gonna say lay off because I got like a nice little cold open.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So it's a late summer night on the Vegas Strip, and a black BMW cruises through traffic carrying one of the greatest artists in a generation. A Cadillac sedan pulls up alongside them and loses a barrage of shots into the vehicle. Nearly 17 hours later, at the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, the BMW's primary occupant is pronounced dead. But is that really how it went down? This is the death of Tupac Shakur. A case unsolved to this day, Tupac was gunned down in the prime of his life at 25. And anyone you talk to is most likely going to have their own very unique theory on the death of Tupac. He might as well be the JFK of the hip-hop world, probably the music and art world at large, really. I can't think of a comparison. Some of the theories are pretty simple fare. One pretty surprisingly well-believed option is that the killing was orchestrated by Christopher Biggie Wallace, an end of their earlier friendship that had turned contentious in the wake of an extreme East versus West rivalry. Two of the most interesting theories that I came across have something to do with Tupac's label exec, Suge Knight. The first sounds like it's straight out of the next season of Empire, though. This theory alleges that Suge himself had Pac killed, knowing that he'd be in a position to try and gain control of the rights to his music catalog, which at the time was large and only growing larger, as we've learned in the years since his death with seemingly yearly releases. Second theory contends that Suge was not only aware of Tupac's plans to fake his death, but may have had an active role. In a Showtime documentary a few years back, documentary filmmaker Bobby Knight said, he quoted Suge Knight as saying, "We was in Maui, and he got to talking about faking his own death. And Pac was more down for doing like those last little videos of him dying all in the white. You know what I'm saying?" Suge's son is on record as believing Tupac's death was staged by the Illuminati and that he's currently living in Malaysia. One theory that I find, if not plausible, but the most interesting of the crazier ones, is that he's currently living in Cuba. His godmother, Asada Shakur, who could be the focus of a conspiracy weekly thing in her own right, there's some crazy stories behind her. She's been living in Cuba since 1984, having surfaced there and gotten asylum after escaping from the Clinton Correctional Facility in 1979. Conspiracy theorist Michael Nietzsche claims he smuggled Tupac into Cuba himself with the assistance of none other than the big man Fidel Castro. Just think, is there a better place to hide from the American media than a country that we've largely been unable to see any developments from the better part of a century? Filmmaker Rick Boss posits an interesting scenario. In his film Tupac, The Great Escape from UMC, Boss claims that Tupac was in fear of a plot on his life and enlisted the aid of a body double to help him escape from UMC via helicopter, fleeing Vegas to live in New Mexico under the protection of a Navajo tribe. Which, again, possibly a tremendous place to hide. You know, it's one of the few places in America, even, you know, this long ago, where you're not going to run into random cameras any given time of the day. Many other people believe that Tupac hasn't gone into permanent hiding, but that he's more hiding in plain sight amongst, you know, just average everyday folk. You know, we get new reports of Pac sightings popping up every couple years, including one clip that I find pretty interesting from the 2011 Occupy Wall Street protests. A man looking remarkably like Tupac is seen in a yellow poncho before he looks directly into the camera and then disappears into the crowd. Sure sounds like someone pretending to be dead to me. Ultimately, I don't think this conspiracy is going to be solved anytime soon. If he really is still alive, then at this point, he's proven his resourcefulness in avoiding confirmation. And it seems like Suge Knight hasn't run out of unreleased tracks to put out year after year. But for many, they're still going to wait for the day when, as Pac put it, I'll return like Jesus.
Yeah, I mean,
for the death of Tupac.
I first want to say this about the Cuba theory. Now, about, I'm going to say 12 to 13 years ago, Eminem released a freestyle, Super Rare. And he, the last line of that freestyle was, "Things ain't been the same since Tupac moved to Cuba on us."
Yeah. Even that long ago, it was pretty.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you remember, there was Eminem produced a post Tupac album, post death Tupac album, and on the third track, Tupac can clearly be heard saying, "Drop that ish, M," which was I rewound it literally like 50 times. Now, the Suge Knight thing of him, but I want to debunk that right out the way, because I don't know any sane person, that would sit in a line of fire to have someone killed. Like that's an aggressive way.
Absolute fair point.
That's an aggressive way to do that. Like there's probably a million other ways to have someone killed than to sit next to them and have someone fire bullets and trust them to be a good enough marksman. They're gonna hit that person and not you.
Listen, I've been to the intersection where he was killed at. He was killed at the corner of Koval and Tropicana.
Right.
Outside of obviously wasn't there now.
Yeah.
But at that intersection right now, there's a Topgolf.
Right.
The Topgolf, it's a corner right there outside of MGM. That is one of the most traveled areas.
I bet.
In Vegas. I mean, you are a half a block off of the Strip at the corner of Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard.
Right.
Like you're in one of the three busiest intersections of the entire Strip. For you to tell me that this guy got killed after a Mike Tyson fight on Las Vegas Boulevard and there's no suspects, I have a lot of questions.
Pretty sus to me.
Well,
I have a lot of questions.
Well, in the past 2 years, there have been Vlad TV did an interview with a guy who was around that night. This is apparently it's been solved. The people are saying now that it was definitely Orlando Anderson, the guy he got into a fight with.
Yes,
I've
heard that as well.
Yeah, the guy he got in a fight with in the
lobby of the casino.
And that guy was a Crip, and that Cadillac. He was the guy in the backseat that ended up shooting him. Now Orlando Anderson died.
Not long after.
Yeah, like literally a couple years after.
Yeah,
so
because a lot of the people who aren't in the conspiracies think that's a big reason why it was kind of shelved. They felt like the man was already gone.
Right. So you said it perfectly in the first paragraph of that dialogue. Is that this is our JFK. This is hip hop's JFK. Like it's something that people will always kind of debate about the truth to how all of that happened, and like. Even there was some weird stuff that happened in the hospital when he went to the hospital where, he was people. I think Suge Knight said in that documentary that he was up talking, like Suge was talking to him. They were having full conversations, and he was they were laughing about it. It's completely fine, and then he was pronounced dead.
5 days later.
Like 5 days later, that didn't make sense either. It's a lot of things about the story that don't add up, but. I think it's always been one of those things that always going to be debated and talked about forever.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things like for someone like me who just enjoys digging into stuff like this.
Yeah.
The day it is solved, like while it will be a happy moment for so many, I'll just be sitting here like, man, I can't just talk shit about it anymore.
Right. No, I'm with you. Like it is like it's from the outside perspective, it is fun to debate this stuff and everyone to kind of figure out. But it's interesting because I don't think people will ever truly let Tupac die because no one wanted Tupac to die. If that makes any sense.
Right.
He was so important.
100%.
He was so important to the culture in a certain type of way that people don't want his legend to die. It's very different than Biggie, who Biggie had his impact in his own way, and obviously Biggie's my favorite rapper of all time, but his impact was very different than Tupac's impact. So. I think with Tupac, it was just like, we don't want this to end. We don't want this to die. We need this forever instead of just letting his music live. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting theory, but listen, man, we appreciate you coming on. We look forward to next week's.
Definitely. Also, let everybody know where they can follow you at.
Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Ultron1321. You can follow the show at Twitty and the Brand on IG and at Twitty and Brand on Twitter. As
we said at the top of the segment, this will be a weekly spot. 10:30 Tuesdays with Twitty. It just rolls off the tongue.
I'm looking forward to these conspiracy
theories. It just rolls off the tongue.
I'm looking forward to
I got some stuff lined up for you guys.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Oh, we definitely get it.
I'm keeping my full hat on all week in preparation. I'm sleeping in it. So, all right, man. Take care, bro.
Definitely appreciate you jumping on.
With you guys.
And we will catch you next week.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
All right, so listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go back to the Eagles.
Definitely.
As the Eagles turn.
Brian and Memory.
In the morning.
11 o'clock hour coming back after this. Bradham and Emery in the morning. Justin Emery, Marcus Bradham, 11 o'clock hour. Special thanks to Twitty from Twitty and the Brand from jumping on the last segment with us. As we had said, he will be making weekly appearances, dropping us some streaming information for all of you guys that out there that like to binge watch some different things, as well as getting us in the mindset to wear tinfoil hats. Now, I never personally take mine off. But I'm glad that you're sitting here wearing one with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Binge watching is a double-edged sword. Like it's awesome to be able to sit there and just keep going back in. But there's definitely a little bit of depression that sets when it's over. Like I get sad when it was last episode. I'm like, oh.
What's the last show that you really binged that was? And I don't mean like something like Tiger King, where it was like a limited series. I'm talking something 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons.
I mean, see, I don't have. My time is very limited, so I can't just indulge like that. So I'm gonna say Breaking Bad because my buddy told me about Breaking Bad the last season, but he had, and this is dating myself a little bit. This is like 7-8 years ago. He had everything on DVDs.
Did you not catch it the first cycle through when it aired?
No. I watched the last season live, but every season before that I watched on those DVDs. So I binged that. I watched that literally for about 2-3 straight weeks. I didn't do anything else but sit there and watch Breaking Bad. That's probably the last thing I just all the way through like that.
Yeah, but for me, the last one like that was Blacklist.
Okay, I've heard good things about that show.
It's good overall. There's a lot of episodes. There's the 8th season just started.
Yeah.
There's 7 seasons, and each season has 20+ episodes.
Okay.
So there's a lot of episodes.
A lot happened.
Not every episode is great. There are throwaway episodes.
Yeah.
Like there's whole episodes where I've just kind of skimmed through it because it is what it is.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's very good. For those who don't understand, like know what it is, Blacklist, brief synopsis, FBI agent, her biological mother is one of the most notorious criminals from the Soviet era.
Mm-hmm.
And her biological grandfather is one of the what's the word I'm looking for? One of the ones who's responsible for toppling the regime. So her grandfather toppled the regime that her mother worked for. And now she's an FBI agent.
Right.
So she's trying to, live life as an FBI agent when she's biologically related to some of the most notorious criminals in the last 50 years.
Wow. Well, speaking of Blacklisted, Doug Peterson.
He's blacklisted, blue listed, green, yellow, pink listed.
So now I want to go
pink slipped, everything.
Yeah, I want to go back, and I want to look back at his tenure and his regime. I want to start with the hire of Doug Peterson, because. Okay. But before we talk about the hire of Doug Peterson, we can't do that without talking about Chip Kelly.
Well, real quick. So, all right, let me because I have some comments to make regarding the hiring of Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
We'll get to that once.
We'll get in there.
We'll get there.
So, Chip Kelly, we kind of nudged him a little bit yesterday, and I didn't want to go into a whole Chip Kelly thing because it wasn't relevant too much to yesterday's conversation.
Yeah. But
now it definitely is. Because
very much.
I'm going to tell you right now that I looked like at the time I was not ready to be done with Chip Kelly, the coach. I was done with Chip Kelly, the general manager. I was not done with Chip Kelly, the coach. And if you look at the NFL today and how offensive are run, are you telling me some of these offenses don't look similar to the 2013 Eagles? Where Chip Kelly screwed himself was he got rid of all the players that made his offense special. That was the problem. It wasn't his coaching philosophy. It wasn't his offense. His offense moved the ball and scored. You look at the Eagles' record. The Eagles, the first year with him, they went to the playoffs at 10-6. The second year, they started out the season 9-3. They lost Nick Foles, separated shoulder. They started out 6-2. Nick Foles separated his shoulder. He was out. You put in Mark Sanchez comes in. The offense didn't look quite as well. They got rid of Deshaun Jackson going into that year. Then Macklin, after 13, Macklin's gone. So now you're missing your wide receivers. LaShawn McCoy is gone soon after in, I think it was 2014, 2015. So you're getting rid of all the skill players that make your offense go. And then you bring in DeMarco Murray, who never made sense. You bring in slow plotting wide receivers. Nothing made sense after that. But that was not the coach. That was the general manager. And me personally, Jeff Lurie, and let's go back to Jeff Lurie getting his feelings hurt with Chip Kelly, where Chip Kelly wasn't a warm and fuzzy guy. He didn't want to come to your Christmas party. He didn't want to say hi in the halls. I don't care. Win games. That's not important to me. What's important is, are you winning or are you losing? Like, I don't know. Like, how close do you think Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are? Do you think they go out to dinner and golf? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I know Kraft and Brady were close, but I don't know that Kraft and Belichick are best friends. You don't need – look, have we not learned anything from The Last Dance? No one liked Jordan. Jordan wasn't a likable guy. The team didn't – and you know what happened is that they won. They won games. That was the point, winning games. That's why when he went to the Wizards, it didn't work because he couldn't win. He was that same guy. He was a jerk, but they weren't winning. And the Bulls dynasty –
by that point in time, he was older. His body had deteriorated.
Right, exactly.
He couldn't will the entire team anymore.
Exactly. So I was always from the school that Chip Kelly should have lost his job as a coach. He should have been the coach, and I had no problem with the way the offense worked. It worked. So when he got fired, after all that happened, it was like, okay, I don't know. Like, we'll see where this goes. Now, you had Adam Gase on the table at the time, and that whole 2016 coaching class. A lot sexier names than Doug Peterson. But a lot of the reason why Doug Peterson got the job too was Andy Reid, because Jeff Lurie still trusted Andy Reid, and he called Andy Reid. It got the decision, and then also Jeff Lurie made Doug Peterson made Jeff Lurie feel safe. He felt safe with him. He felt like Doug Peterson's going to carry out his wishes. He's not going to make him feel uncomfortable in the hallway. He'll come to Christmas parties. He's a nice guy. Okay. But listen, Doug Peterson had never been a head coach anywhere else. He wasn't, a well sought after name. He came out of seemingly nowhere to everyone else. So people were really confused. Now, you said you had some comments about the hire, so I'm going to let you jump into that.
I mean, it took me 2 months to remember his name. Like, when they hired him, I had so little clue who he was that I wasn't even sure what team he came from.
Right.
Who else did they even interview that season? That offseason?
Well, Deuce got an interview. Yeah. He always gets an interview. Yeah.
And then who else?
And then I don't remember. I think did Gase get an interview here? I don't think he did. Yeah.
Think about it. All aboard the Gus bus.
Gus Bradley, that's right. He got an interview.
Where he was – oh, no. I'm sorry. Inaccurate. Gus was the Chip Kelly.
Yeah, just Chip Kelly. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Inaccurate. You're right. It was Gase.
Yeah.
Could you have imagined? And who was McAdoo?
Right.
That was the other one.
Stashadoo.
Yes. Could you imagine if you had one of those two instead of Doug?
You mean Gase or McAdoo?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Gase, I mean, listen.
He was on 2 teams in the amount of time that Peterson was on 1.
Right. And the Jets are a dysfunctional mess. So, I mean, yeah.
And they're about to bring Doug Peterson in to be their head coach.
Yeah.
You didn't expect. You didn't expect that one.
No.
Well, would you be? Well, let me ask you. Would you be surprised if Joe Douglas brought in Doug Peterson to be his head coach?
No. But I don't know why you take that job. They're a mess too. But
because there's only 32 jobs for what you want to do. And,
right. Yeah. Good point.
You know,
but
do you want to go back to coaching? High
school football.
Yeah. What was it? Mississippi.
Right.
Mississippi area senior high school. Do you really want to go back to coaching that?
Right.
No, you don't.
Right. So they bring him in 2016 to very little fanfare. No, I don't know. There's 3 people in this state that were like, "Yay, we got Doug." I mean, it was. I don't think anyone felt that way. And I'm a little bit older, so I remember him as the backup in '99 to Donovan. And that's how I remembered him. I didn't even honestly, I didn't even follow his coaching career after that to see where he was and how he got involved. I don't know anything about that. But anyway,
you got to become the head coach of the Philadelphia football team because you got to call the plays in second half blowouts for Alex Smith.
Right. Right.
What kind of Mickey Mouse organization is the Philadelphia football team?
Right. Yeah, and so you hire this guy, and you immediately draft Carson, so they're supposed to become married. That's how it goes: head coach, quarterback, marriage. You think of Mike Tomlin, you think of Ben Roethlisberger, you think of Bill Belichick, you think of Tom Brady. It's just that's how it's. Peyton Manning, you think of Tony Dungy. Yeah, so you do have those marriages: Drew Brees, Sean Payton. Like this, that's how it's supposed to be. Now. 2016, it seemed like we were going that direction. Even though there were so many decisions Doug made, that I didn't agree with, they started off 3-0. So gotta be quiet.
And I remember the first season with Carson. Mm-hmm. People were comparing him to Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Noted Carson Wentz hater Max Kellerman went on First Take and said that he looks like Andrew Luck with more poise. He looks like a more athletic version of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you have that, and then they finished the 2016 season. They ended up 7-9, and it was like, okay, you know what? We think we have a quarterback here. So we'll be okay. 2017, nobody saw coming. Nobody saw the start they got off to. Nobody saw them winning 9 games in a row. No one saw – and not just beating teams, obliterating teams.
Oh, yeah. I mean, games were done by the halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah, they were absolutely obliterating teams, scoring at will. They averaged 34 points a game that year.
There was a game – I was at the game against the 49ers that year.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, I mean, it started off slow, and then it was like – interception.
Yep.
The Eagles intercepted the ball. Touchdown. Eagles. Punt. Touchdown. It went from I think 17-10, a balloon to 44-10 in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and they played the Broncos that year, and the Broncos were still kind of a conversation of being, a top tier team in the AFC. They beat them 50-20. It was just absurd.
They still had a little. They still had the remnants a little bit of their Super Bowl winning team in 14, the Broncos.
Yes.
Von Miller was still is very much Von Miller.
Right.
It's just they were just
Akib Talib was still on that team.
Yeah,
they had
Chris Harris. They were blowing people out that year.
Right.
But as I had described it yesterday, the 2017 team is like buying a $5 scratch off and hitting for $100,000.
Right. And
like you went to the discount bin, got all the discount items, and it just so happens to be everything you needed.
Right. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. And then, Carson gets hurt. And listen, at that point, everyone's thinking the season's over. No one thought, even though we were familiar with Nick Foles, no one thought he'd step in and do what he did. Now, to Doug's credit, and one thing that I will say I think is true, and I agree with everyone when I say this, is that people like Doug and people play for Doug. They're motivated by him.
The players love Doug Peterson.
Yeah, so that's a good trait. So the Eagles already had momentum, and Doug carried them and said, hey, and use that underdog mentality, and was able to parlay all of that into reaching the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. So listen, am I still at that point, even after Super Bowl win, am I still a Doug Peterson guy? No.
No.
Well, what can I say? What is there for me? What argument can I make? I can't make any argument.
You just tip your cap, say thanks for the Super Bowl. Good luck in your next endeavor.
Well, you can't do that. You can't get rid of him then.
Oh, yeah, you can. No. I just did.
Well, you just did, but that would have never flew anywhere else. Like, I still was like,
oh, it flies on the Brad and Emery show?
Yeah, it flies here. Maybe we were thinking that way, but no one else was. So you go into 2018 and you're feeling okay. We won a Super Bowl. We can do this. We can do this again. We can be competitive again. We can get there again. And but then you have the organic quarterback controversy of Nick Foles, Carson Wentz. You had that going in 2018. Wentz comes back too soon.
And that was not the organization's fault.
I agree. That's why I say organic.
Yeah, the Hurts one is
definitely
completely manufactured by the team.
Right.
The Foles one, it just
it was what it was.
And this season, hopefully more so than the last two seasons, finally put that argument to bed.
Yes. And, so Carson comes back too soon, and he gets injured again. So, he's out again, and then you put in your Foles, and it looks like history is repeating itself. And, listen, I don't know what happened. Alshon Jeffrey catches that ball. I have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like, we can say they would have scored there, but we have no idea. You don't know that. So, but, we know how the season ends there. So you're going into 2019, and you're thinking, okay, I mean, they're still in the conversation. Did things start to get a little weird in 2019, I feel. Because then, I feel like that's the first signs you saw of, like, this team that not draft well. Because then you don't have Jeffrey.
Well, it really came down to it feels like every year we're sitting here that the Eagles always have the most injuries. Right. It always feels like that.
Yeah.
But last year and this year really put it on display. And when you have injuries to the magnitude that they did, that will reveal your lack of depth.
1,000%.
And you build the depth through the draft.
1,000%. And that's
when you have whole position groups eliminated because of injury, not because of the virus, because of injury. You have whole position groups undermanned.
Right.
It shows that you screwed up drafting because you have no one to fill those. The players who are playing linebacker for the Philadelphia football team, I mean, there might not be a single linebacker on our team that would start on any other team.
I would agree with that.
Like, we have 3 starters who would be backups on 31 other teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. But, yeah, so Jeffrey gets hurt. You bring back Deshaun. You only have him for a game. He's out basically the rest of the season. He's out the rest of the season. So now you're just down to scraps at this point offensively. And, but again, they rally. They rally again. They rally again at the end of the year, which is this is all to be commendable. Because one thing I do look at with a coach is how you finish. What's happening? What's going on in December? How are you closing? And the Eagles had become a team that you could count on going those late season runs, very much like Andy Reid teams were. So you close well, and then the playoffs happen. Carson gets hurt. But then still, after that season, there's still a little hope for optimism because you're like, listen, yeah, we need more help here, this, that, and third area. However, we made the playoffs again, And I believe if Carson doesn't get hurt, they win that game. And, I still feel okay going into this year. Now, we covered this year yesterday, so I'm not going to even go into that. And if you did miss yesterday's episodes, wherever podcasts are fine.
Go back and check it out. You're in for a treat.
Go check it out. So now here we are after this year, and everything really, because really, if you look at it, Doug to me is a great manager of men. He can, people like him, but the problem with me with Doug is always his game management skills. That's where I have a problem with him. His in-game execution. And his ability to adjust to other coaches and see something at halftime. Like, how many times have you watched an Eagles game after halftime and said, wow, Doug really adjusted to this really well?
Never.
It's never been a thing, right? And Doug's one of those coaches that I'm doing it this way. I don't care. This is how we're playing the game. He doesn't go back and look and say, okay, well, they're doing this, so I need to adjust to this. And that's the problem. And he's never done that throughout his entire tenure.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back down to what I said yesterday. And I know we've repeatedly said that over and over, but I question if he's just smart enough.
I don't think he is. I think he's a I hate saying this because I hate talking about other people's intelligence makes me uncomfortable because it makes me sound pretentious, but I believe he's a buffoon.
I agree. I agree.
Like he's like I actually had on I was watching I had it on waiting for a press conference. So I had on Comcast. So I was watching the afternoon host from the radio station, and he called him a boob, and I literally belly laughed. He said, "I think he's a boob," and I just because that's how I look at him too.
Yeah.
He comes across like a buffoon.
He does,
and like he's made a lot of decisions that were pure buffoonery in his tenure. But can you agree with this statement? I believe Doug got fired ultimately for the backstage politics more than his play on the field, which is kind of alarming to me. But I think it was the backstage stuff more.
I think it also not entirely, because I also think a lot of it is that he puts his foot in his mouth all the time,
mm-hmm.
and who knows what dumb things he said in that meeting with Jeffrey Lurie.
Right.
Like, who knows if Jeffrey Lurie left that meeting like what?
Well, the Press Taylor situation. We didn't even get to that yet. We could do that after break. How much time we got left?
We're gonna get to that right now.
Okay.
We'll push the break back a few minutes.
All right.
Because if I'm gonna pose you a rhetorical question real quick.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll get into the Press Taylor thing.
Okay.
Where has the days gone when you hire a coach to be the CEO, the executive of your team, and then you bring on an offensive and a defensive coordinator? Why is it now that either your coach is an offensive-minded guy, so you don't hire an offensive coordinator, or your coach is a defensive-minded guy, and you don't hire a defensive coordinator? Why is it always the coaches these days that get hired have to think that they're the smartest guys in the room and show you why they got that job?
Yeah. One of the to me a big
give me a guy. I mean, I know we're going to the college ranks a little bit. It's not the same but like Dabo Swinney at Clemson,
mm-hmm.
he very seldom actually, when it comes to like the fundamentals, very seldom is actually in there one-on-one with anybody, maybe outside of Trevor Lawrence.
The biggest quality to me of a leader is delegation. True leaders understand how to delegate. And true leaders understand and aren't threatened by the fact that they have other people. Just because – so it's like this show, right? Just because you're good at your job, it doesn't mean I'm not good at my job. And, like, that's how you have to think when, as a head coach of a football team or the leader of an organization. I need strong people around me. Why in the world, how does it help me to be strong but have weak around me? I need strong everywhere. So I can say to you, hey, look at the Rams. Give me a game plan for the first half. And I know I can count on that so I can go do other things. And you're absolutely 1,000% right. Today, it's like, but I mean, listen, we can get in a deeper conversation about the generational gap of how weak people are today and feeble-minded, where egos are so big and are so fragile, I can't be next to a strong person. Like, we talked about Jim Johnson yesterday, and, you know, Andy Reid, even though Andy Reid was an offensive guy, he still had his coordinators. And, you know, Jim Johnson got a lot of praise for that team. Did you ever hear Andy Reid complaining about that? No. Because it's ridiculous. Because you win, I win, we win together.
He went in there and hired a defensive coordinator. He could say, here is the defensive playbook.
Right.
Here is the defensive personnel.
Right.
I'll see you on the practice field.
And that's what you want. That's what you want. That's the whole point of a coordinator. Like, I need to be the big picture guy. Yeah. Like, that's
when you have an issue you can't solve, you come to me.
Right.
Other than that.
Right. And that's honestly how I run my household. Like, I run my household the same way. Like, I consider myself to be the leader of my household, but it's a lot of delegation. Like, I expect you to do one job, you to do one job, you do another job. Now, if you guys need help with something, come see me. I'm over here handling all of these things. So I'm going to give you guys and then we'll figure it out along the way. That's how it should run an organization. And it's not like that anymore. And it wasn't like that on the Eagles. And ultimately, that's why Doug Peterson's not a coach anymore, because he's surrounded himself with numbskulls.
Yeah.
And he's a numbskull.
Yes.
He's head of the numbskulls.
And that brings us back up to our very next point.
Yeah.
He wanted to bring Press Taylor in as the OC.
Yeah.
What?
And that was something apparently brought up in the meeting to Lurie.
What have you ever seen that Press Taylor should be an offensive coordinator?
Nothing.
What have you ever seen that Press Taylor should be a quarterback coach?
Nothing.
Oh, because he goes to Sunday Mass with Carson?
Right. That's not how you make hires. Like, if you want, like, listen, if you want to, like, Sean McVay. I have a lot of respect for Sean McVay because he came on he started early on as an absolute nobody. He just wanted to help out. Like, he just came in and he would just watch and observe. John Gruden took a liking to him, and he kind of just hung around. And John Gruden is one of those people that loves to give out information and helped him along.
Then he went from there to Mike Shanahan.
Yep.
Learn under Mike Shanahan, under Kyle Shanahan.
Right. So him being 34 as a head coach makes a lot of sense because of his pedigree. But he did it the right way. He just started earlier than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Like, he is one of the first ones you saw say, I'm just going to go right to coaching.
Yeah, he
right?
After college, he didn't even attempt to go to the NFL as a player.
Yep.
Because he played in college. He was a college player. Mm-hmm. Didn't even attempt to go to the NFL.
Yep.
Just said, all right, I'm going to just go to coaching.
Right.
As soon as his college career was done, he went into coaching at 22, 23.
Yep.
So by the time he was 30, he got hired as a head coach because he was literally calling plays for 5 years.
Exactly. So, you know, that's okay. We're not saying you can't have that path of coming out of nowhere and no one really mainstream knows who you are, but you got to do the due diligence and go through the proper protocols. Press Taylor didn't go through any protocols. He went to church. It's not a protocol. Church is fine. Nothing wrong with church, but that's not how you get a job in the NFL.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with anything. And for you, like, and you know Jeffrey Lurie has probably no idea who Press Taylor is. He was like, who? Who do you want to? Who's that?
And Doug's like, oh, he's our quarterback coach.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey's like, I've been paying this guy already?
Yeah.
He's already on payroll?
He's on payroll? You know, he put the glasses a little low. Look at the payroll. Press. Oh, yeah. No, we're not hiring him. I have no idea who he is.
There was a guy that I used to work for when I lived in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Who, whenever things like that would happen, just like he had this really small pair of glasses, he put on the edge of his nose and like stare at his computer screen and be like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
So I can see that. Oh yeah, we want to promote Press Taylor. He's going to be the offensive coordinator.
Right.
Me and Press are going to make game plans. Jeffrey's hold on a minute. Hold on. I can sit down. Might have had
Jeff said, I got time today.
Yeah.
I got time. Press Taylor will not be doing that.
Listen, I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
You're getting on a plane, coming down to Florida.
Right.
There will be a driver waiting for you at the tarmac.
Like, could you, literally, this is what I picture. I picture Jeff Lewis sitting at his desk and saying, listen, Doug, this was rough, okay? But I want to give you another shot. But I need a vote of confidence from you. What can you tell me you're going to do for the next 3 to 5 years to make our team better? And Doug looked at him like he was trying to divide 533 divided by 7 in his head. Like, he had no idea. It was smoke coming from the ears. He had no idea. And he said, can you give me 5 minutes? And went to the bathroom. Was like, okay, Press Taylor, he'll be offense coordinator. And started jotting down just random things and went back in, was like, all right, here you go. And literally was like, okay, I can't do this.
Yeah, no, he it's embarrassing.
It is.
And
it is.
Also, I got to put this out real quick.
Okay.
I had mentioned this on Twitter yesterday, but I love how I don't want to drop any names, but anybody that can put 2 and 2 together will know who I'm talking about. I love how an unemployed reporter is just slaying all the guys who are officially still on the beat.
Yes.
Like with direct
Ginsu.
conversations with Doug himself.
Yeah, Gensu's.
Love it. Love
it. Love to see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We don't need you anymore. We can't afford you. We got to part your ways. Unemployed.
Right.
Still out here
killing it.
No, still the top guy.
Still
so I wanted to.
Yeah, facts only. So listen, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, I want to dive into the press conference from there.
We'll also touch on some COVID versus Sixers.
Sixers versus COVID.
Sixers versus COVID.
The saga continues.
Yeah, they're in a 3-game series tonight with them.
Yep. So we'll get into that and a lot more. It's Brad and Emery in the morning. Marques, Brad, Justin, Emery. We'll be right back.
Guys, I want to tell you about my friends over at Conchi Italian Bakery. Conchi Bakery is your one-stop shop for the best breads, rolls, desserts, and my absolute favorite, the world-famous tomato pies. They offer custom tomato pies as well, so if you have a special occasion, perhaps your team is still potentially in the playoffs. You might have a birthday coming up. Mine was last week. Graduation coming up in a couple months, or just something you want to just put together for a party, any kind together. Reach out to Conchi Bakery today, located at 79 Jones Street. Stop by or call them at 610-825-9334 to order ahead of time. Check them out online at Conchi Bakery. Voted Best of Philly 5 straight years in a row. ConchiBakery.com. Make sure you tell them that Justin sent you.
Welcome back. Brad and Emery in the morning. Marques, Brad, Justin, Emery.
Definitely. And don't forgot I forgot to mention it, but don't you forget to mention it and to go check it out. Mike's Barbecue. Mike's BarbecuePhilly.com online. I highly recommend it. 1703 South 11th Street. Go there. Say Justin and Marcus from Bright Memories sent us. They listen to the show. They're fans of the show. They're friends of the show. And I'm a big fan of their food, big fan of their barbecue. Check out the brisket cheesesteaks, the macaroni and cheese. And every Thursday, they hit you with a special sandwich. And you don't know what it is until you wake up Thursday and check the timeline.
I like that.
Twitty is a big fan of Mike's Barbecue as well, and his favorite is often the Cubano. So do definitely go down there and get Twitty's Cubano favorite. Justin's brisket cheesesteak, Mike's BarbecuePhilly.com.
I like it. So I want to read you something that a tweet from yesterday. I'm not going to mention the name.
It's going to make me throw up.
This is it may. But this is exactly how I felt. Obviously, the Eagles are a mess. Didn't realize how bad it actually is until that Jeffrey Lurie press conference. So, I already kind of said how I was feeling after Doug got fired. I had a little bit of relief thinking that this was going in the right direction. Then I watched the owner come to the Zoom, and it just wasn't good. First of all, when you fire someone, you don't spend 10 minutes talking about how great they were. That right turned me off immediately, because at that point, this is now becoming passive aggressive. Then after that foolishness, I thought it was great questions asked for the most part yesterday. I thought the questions were really good.
The beat reporters are not letting up at all, and I appreciate it from them.
So Lurie went on to talk about drafting, and he didn't really see a problem with drafting. He didn't understand.
Yeah, of course you don't see a problem with drafting when you're injecting yourself into the draft process. Why would you see an issue with it?
He tried to compare his drafts with people around the league, basically trying to big time and say, hey, listen, you go around the league, I'll put out drafts against anybody. Oh, really, Jeff? Really? And you sent this to me yesterday. So I'm just going to read some of these names.
Is this the draft chart?
Yes.
All right,
I'm going to read some of these names been drafted by the Eagles in the past couple of years. J.J. Ortega-Whiteside, Sharif Miller. I don't even know who that is.
Defensive end out of Penn State. The only reason I know is because of where he went to college.
Clayton Thorson. No idea who that is.
Defensive lineman, maybe?
Quarterback.
Oh, never mind.
Remember, quarterback factory.
Oh, yeah, the QB factory, of course.
Dallas Goedert, good. Avonte Maddox, I don't know.
No, I'm so out on him.
Okay.
He's like a fifth corner.
Okay, Josh Sweat.
I like him. Yeah, I like him.
Matt Pryor.
No.
Jordan Mailata.
Maybe. As a 7th round pick, I can't hate on that.
Derek Barnett. Okay. Not bad. Sidney Jones, fail.
Yeah, no.
Rasul Douglas, fail.
No.
Mac Hollins, fail.
Oh, God, no.
Donald Pumphrey, fail.
Oh.
Shelton Gibson, fail.
Who?
Shelton Gibson. I remember him. The wide receiver.
Okay,
He was part of the Ortega-Whiteside class. He was he's trash. Nathan Gary, come on. Elijah Qualls.
Who?
Yeah. Ike Salamalu, who's now a starter, but who knows. And Wendell Smallwood. This is honestly only 2019 to 2016. We could do this for another 5 minutes.
That was 3. Was that 3 years?
That was only 3 years of names there. We could do this for a lot longer if we needed to, but I don't want to bore the people with all of that. So you're telling me after those names that you're okay with the drafting?
Well, let me compound on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
One Pro Bowler drafted since 2013.
Yep. I bet you guys can name them. I bet you can name them.
53 players were drafted by the Philadelphia football team.
Yeah.
From 2013 to this last past draft. 53 picks they had.
Right.
Okay? Essentially a full roster.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
One player has made the Pro Bowl. Remember that they drafted. This does not mean that they haven't had somebody make the Pro Bowl. And we're excluding Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson because
Andy Reid guys.
They were drafted prior to this.
Right.
So take the guess. Take the guess. Who is it?
Carson Wentz.
Oh!
I found this interesting. This is the one interesting thing that I think he said that I kind of talked about a little bit yesterday. Remember we talked about
interested in Jeff Lurie said something in the same sentence?
I took this out. I was interested about this. So yesterday we talked a little bit about how I thought Eagles fans were spoiled based on typically an Eagles season.
Makes sense.
It seems to me that Jeffrey Lurie, he kind of alluded to the fact that they mortgaged everything for 2017, and he kind of wants things to go back to the way they were, of being competitive every year as opposed to all in on the Super Bowl. Like, let's take these shots. Like let's look at Andy Reid, right? Andy Reid, 14 years here, most years very competitive, went to NFC Championship games, got to Super Bowl one time, but every year basically was competitive. It seems to me that Jeffrey Lurie is far more comfortable with that than going all in for 1 year and having a couple bad years, which I found a little interesting for him to say that.
Yeah, it's a dumb outlook to have.
I agree.
I mean,
but I still find it interesting that he said that.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. It's also dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the more I said this at the top of the show. The only thing that's worse about the owners in this town when they don't speak is when they do speak.
Yeah. By the way, currently Justin's standings made me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I don't know what's happening. He had to walk it off. He had to walk off the press conference. Yeah, like that was the one thing that I thought was interesting. But a lot of it was just lies. Like he picture this for a second. He spent more time praising Nate Sudfeld than he did.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Praising his starting quarterback.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, well, Nate Sudfeld, he 2016.
Well, let me ask you this. So, he's on record.
He's now leaning forward, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he's leaning forward and standing.
He's on record as saying that he does not evaluate the quarterbacks. Jeffrey Lurie is on record as saying he does not evaluate the quarterbacks.
Right. Why
are you breaking down Nate Sudfeld's arm strength in a Zoom call?
Right.
If you don't,
and nobody cares. Like we all
understand.
You know
who cares about that? Nate Sudfeld.
Right. We all understand why Nate Sudfeld was in that game against the Washington football team. We get it.
And nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Why are you wasting quality Zoom time talking about Nate Sudfeld?
Unless you have a premium account.
Yeah.
You only get 40 minutes on that Zoom call with video.
Yeah.
So you better get it out in 40 minutes.
Yeah, get out there.
Because the Philadelphia football team is so cheap that I can't rely on them not to have this free trial of Zoom.
Right.
Because this next head coach is going to be someone who's never coached before because they want someone that they can control. Mm-hmm. They want a yes man. Right. They're cheap.
Right.
They have no money to spend on anybody because they have it all tied up in $71 million that they can't even use.
Right. Yeah. So his press conference was frustrating to say the least. You can hear it in our voices. That, to me, I was baffled by 98% of the things that he said. I really didn't understand. And the thing is,
it makes me want to throw up when I think about it.
He wasn't like, he even said he was not like, he freestyled the conversation. Like, how are you not have talking points?
The worst part is that
and bullet points.
Now, I'm not going to kill him for freestyling a conversation.
I am. I hate because for him, no, it's not for him.
Well, yeah, I get it, but I often freestyle conversations when I should have bullet points planned out. However, don't say it.
Right. Yeah, like, I can't argue with that.
If he can pull it off to where you don't know he's freestyling, then what is that you don't know?
Right. And the thing is, he was saying things that were stupid. So you saying that you're freestyling makes you sound even dumber. Yeah. Like it was a bad. Everything about it was a bad look. Like he showed. Like first of all. Like, I don't know. It was just so bad all around. And like
it really was. So I know that I'm going to draw a reference real quick.
Okay.
And I know that we don't get very political on this show.
Uh-oh.
But it has to do with something that's occurring based off of recent events.
Uh-oh.
So everybody knows what happened last Wednesday.
Yes.
There is a website out there that says for you to fill out your personal information if you participated in those events on Wednesday for the president to pardon you. And these dumb people are signing up for it with their information and getting turned into the police because they're dumb enough to believe that.
Right.
I feel like that is what the Eagles ownership is doing right now. Hey, I know that we're blatantly doing everything wrong and we're lying to your face, but you sign up for those seat licenses for next year, and we promise you we'll put out a good product. When you're sitting here, and I know for a fact you're $71 million over the salary cap, and I highly question if the number 11 jersey that's hanging in my closet will be worth anything in 8 months.
Right.
Breaking news?
No, I just don't like this tweet.
Oh.
Oh, man. I don't even know if I want to read this.
Oh. What is? We'll review this tweet during the break, and we'll drop it on the other side.
I kind of want to just do it now.
Okay, screw it. Hold up. Do we need Bremy music for this or not quite?
Yes. Put on the conspiracy theory music. And if you're driving a car right now, I suggest you pull over to the side of the road. If you're standing, I suggest you sit. Because this is something I didn't think of.
And I'm sitting again.
So and I hope it never happens. And you can react to this because there's a question posed by someone in the media. I don't even want to say it.
Do it.
Could you imagine if Jason Garrett was hired as the Eagles coach? You would blank.
I actually saw this tweet yesterday.
The clapper? Could you imagine the clapper in Eagles green?
I'm not worried about it. About that. I mean,
listen, as bad as things are, nothing is off the table.
For the sake of argument, I'll entertain that tweet and say, well, if he's hired, you will do what?
Yeah.
So we're sitting right now at your place.
Yes.
It is January 12th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking out your window across the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I see the pool.
Yeah.
I will be in there.
You're in that pool.
If they hire him. And we will live stream it so that everybody can see.
It's one of those things that you're absolutely right that
they're not going to hire him. I don't like this. I don't like
what is happening right now.
I don't like this.
So
hold on. We're gonna go to a quick break. Okay, hold on. Listen, hold on. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break real quick. Okay.
Why did I open Twitter?
I don't know.
Things are happening. Things are happening.
We have a lot of things. We got some breaking news coming across the wire. Like you had said, literally as the show is going on. So we're going to take a quick little break, sort out some of this breaking news, see what is reportable, and on the other side, we will be right back. Bradham and Emery in the morning. Justin Emery.
I'm stressed out.
Marcus Bradham. Marques and Brad be back. Or Marques is Brad. I'm reading.
What?
I'm reading.
Marques is Bradham.
I said Marques and Bradham.
Marques and Bradham.
But I started reading that story that you put, and now I can't get my eyes off of it.
Bradham and Emery morning. Marques Bradham, Justin Emery. We are back. First of all, before we get into anything, I want to once again talk about my good friends over at Uncle Mike's. Go check them out. Homemade ice cream, shakes, sundaes, sorbets, special order ice cream cakes, pies. They're at 537 York Road in Warminster, open all year round. Happiness, one scoop at a time. Yo, listen, we were going to talk NBA. We were going to talk Sixers COVID. But we need to first address Kyrie Irving and what's going on with him.
Yeah, so a breaking that came in that threw both of us off about 5 minutes ago. So Kyrie hasn't played in about a week, almost a week. He hasn't played. He just literally hasn't played. There's, he's not quarantined, or he just literally.
He's basically no one really knows the true reason why. People are guessing, and some people are saying it's because of what happened on Capitol Hill Wednesday, that this is some sort of a protest. But the problem is he didn't tell anybody. He literally just left. He just left and disappeared.
And he's already a weirdo.
Yes,
he's
whole weirdo.
Strange. I mean, this is someone who has in 2021 still says that the Earth is flat.
Yes.
He also said, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that Christmas isn't a holiday.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
That is true.
I believe he also has a couple statements out about not sure about believing in gravity.
Yeah.
So people like that, we don't necessarily go and ask them for advice. Okay?
Not to mention the way he's handled things with his teams.
Yeah.
Like the weird stuff that happened of him leaving Cleveland, leaving LeBron.
Yes.
Then everything that transpired with Boston. Then he ends up in Brooklyn. Last year was weird. It's surprising to me that Kevin Durant wanted to marry himself to this type of foolishness. And knowing that this was probably going to be the outcome. Like, I don't feel bad for Kevin Durant at all for getting involved getting in bed with Kyrie Irving. Like, have you not paid attention the last couple of years?
Like, you handpicked this situation every step of the way.
Yeah.
Both of them. Kyrie handpicked his team.
Yep.
Basically, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a say in handpicking the coach.
Yep.
And the rest of the players.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's
so here's what happened today.
He's a strange guy. And
if you go to Twitter right now, Kyrie Irving is the number one trend on Twitter right now as we speak. And the reason why he is trending is because videos have surfaced of Kyrie Irving at a large birthday gathering alongside his sister. And Kyrie's sister and dad have birthdays this week. So we all see the major problem. Okay, so this is a two-pronged problem effect. You haven't been with your team in a week. No one knows who you are. And apparently it's supposed to be because you're upset about the Capitol. But you're out partying. You're also out partying maskless, which obviously is a major no-no. And now you force the NBA to kind of investigate what in the world is going on. Sources like Woj reported 44 minutes ago that sources are saying that the NBA is expected to begin examining online videos circulating of a maskless Kyrie Irving at a family birthday party. There's no belief that he will return to Brooklyn this week. Like, what? And the thing that's so, like, wrong about all of this is that, like, if I'm a teammate and I'm, putting myself on the line every day and, like, you just vanish and we have no idea where you are, so you can't help us win, that's your main job is helping us win. You're not around for that. So then you go vanish, and the first time I see you, you're out at a gathering, celebrating maskless, while and we were going to talk about this, the COVID outbreak in the NBA right now as it speaks anyway. This is so irresponsible on so many different levels. Like Kyrie out here treating his job like he got vacation time on a 9 to 5. Like he went into the office, the back office, filled out the vacation seat. I'm like, I'm gonna take a vacation here. I'm gonna be gone for 10 days. I don't need to tell you where I'm going. I'm going with like what?
He's dropping in PTO like it's a 9 to 5.
Right. Like no, Kyrie, this is not acceptable. And the thing is, even like we forgot to mention another bizarre thing he did where at the beginning of this year he said he was not going to speak to the media and not say anything to the media at all, which obviously puts more strain on your team. If he was going to do that, it puts more strain on your teammates because they have to answer questions for you. He changed his tune quickly when he found out the NBA was going to fine his behind every time he missed a media session. That changed very quickly. But he's like, man, this story, I feel like it's already super weird, but we haven't gotten to the apex of the weirdness yet. Like, this is going to get weirder as we go.
I'm sitting here just reading like through all the different reporters and everything, and it makes this guy. What do you do with him? Because I mean, he's obviously too good to cut. Like, you can't cut him.
You can't. I mean, you can't because.
Well, not even just financially. I'm just saying, like, he's too skilled for you to cut him, but he's nuts. Like,
do you remember the All-Star game a couple years ago where Fergie sung the national anthem?
Yes.
And it showed all the players laughing?
Yes.
Someone just put out a video of that and said, NBA stars on Zoom with Katie after Kyrie Irving acts up 1 month into season.
Oh, I saw that tweet. I saw it.
But, yeah, like, everyone, like, this was supposed to be Kevin Durant's prove it to you act, where, like, everyone got on him for joining the Warriors. The Warriors were already won a championship, and they were already loaded, and leaving Russ in Oklahoma City. This was supposed to be where he got there, and he was going to be like, listen, I can do this as being a leader. And he was going to take the responsibilities with Kyrie and build this organization together. Now what? What is this? And now, once again, Kevin Durant, who's not a media guy himself, he's not big on talking to the media himself and having direct conversation. Do you think he's going to enjoy entertaining questions about Kyrie Irving out partying when nobody knows where he is in the country?
No.
This has turned into a giant game of Carmen Sandiego.
And I'm pretty sure now he was. Is he back playing? Because he was on the COVID list.
Yeah, he came back. He came back. Okay. Last game he came back, and they still lost. They lost to was it Oklahoma City? They lost to. It's a couple days ago. They lost by 13 in his comeback because they're also missing Spencer Dinwiddie. He's out. He tore his, I believe, his ACL. He tore his ACL. I believe that's what happened to him. But he's out for the year.
Who?
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah. Well, he had that. I think it was a shoulder issue in the very start of the season.
Right.
But what's out? He's out now.
I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL.
Yeah,
he's done for the year.
Yes,
so
reconstructive knee surgery.
He was a big piece that you're missing now. So now you're depleted, right? And this is where you need your stars to be your stars. But where's one of your stars? And the office is calling him. You know emails are being exchanged. He's not answering anybody either. He's just gone. This is so, like, I believe this needs to be, I don't know how to punish him, but he has to be punished for this.
I mean,
because I feel like
it's the only, so I guess there's two ways to punish players.
Mm-hmm.
Playtime,
yeah,
and financial. He clearly doesn't care about playtime.
No.
So you have to
hit the pockets.
You have to hit the financially.
Have to hit the pockets. This got to be done.
And I mean, like, what? It's like you had mentioned, obviously, like his teammates. What is his agent thinking?
Oh my gosh.
His agent's thinking here, like, the team's calling me.
Next question.
Drew
Rosenhaus. Next question.
Who's? Do you know offhand who the GM of the Nets is?
No.
Whoever the GM of the Nets is calling Kyrie's agent.
Yeah.
Where's your client?
Right.
Where is your client?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how dumb do you look not knowing where your client is? But the whole thing, everyone looks stupid in this. Like, Steve Nash having to sit up there, and this is his first coaching job.
And here's the thing.
Like, he's not a veteran at this. He doesn't know.
It'd be one thing if this was, like, Kyrie's first.
Yeah, foolishness.
Yeah. I mean, it's every couple of months with him.
Yeah. And honestly, it disappoints me because I feel like I don't know why he's doing this. I don't know why he's doing this, but I feel like he's taking advantage of the social movement, which bothers me. That bothers me. I don't like that. I feel like that's what he's doing here. But Oh man, I didn't expect to spend 8 minutes on Kyrie Irving, but here we are.
Real quick, so we only got like 2 minutes left, so we'll
Yeah.
just jump into the COVID Sixers real quick.
Yeah.
The NBA hates the Sixers.
Absolutely, no question. They're still mad about the process.
Every team has COVID tests that are positive, and every other game is getting canceled. And what do they do to the Sixers? They make them dress injured players so they don't have to forfeit.
Right. And they fined him over Ben Simmons Saturday.
Yep.
And they can't, like, they ended up the Celtics Heat game was scheduled for yesterday, or was it Sunday?
I believe the Celtics have had 2 games canceled so far.
Right, but that game was canceled. No, I'm sorry, Sunday. It was Sunday. Celtics and Heat were supposed to play on Sunday, and it was scheduled to play up until like 3 hours before, because I had on one of my bet slips, and they voided it. They canceled it.
Yeah.
Which was eye-raising, since the Sixers played the day before, and they were getting guys from the YMCA. They were like, "Hey, you want a jersey? You want a jersey?"
Yep.
Like it was insane.
It's like they were throwing them in the stands at halftime.
Right. So it's the NBA is going to have to make some hard decisions. Like, they're trying to do what Major League Baseball did and what football did, where basically they close their eyes and said, keep playing, we're going to figure it out. But it's getting bad. So I don't know that they're going to be able to do that. They might have to stop it for like a week or so just to get things back into the fray.
And I don't think that a bubble is going to work.
No,
I want a bubble.
I would like a bubble, but not now. Because here's the deal. Like we said about the bubble before, you're asking people to commit to 6 to 7 months away from their families and stuff like that, and no one's going to want to do that.
No.
Kyrie's not doing that.
No,
he's going to the club.
Kyrie won't even do it for a week, let alone a month.
No, he won't.
6 months.
No, but listen, man, we're going to go ahead and get out of here.
Yes, sir.
It's been fun as usual. We'll be back with you tomorrow on Wednesday, talk some more sports and things.
Yes, sir.
And check out like Mike's Barbecue. Check out Uncle Mike's. Check out Conchi Bakery. And until tomorrow, follow me at Marques B. Tweeting, all platforms. At Justin Emery Show, all platforms. You can be with us, you can be against us, but you're never going to stop us. Late.